Coming up, more debate here in the Valley over the use of masks on school campuses. We'll tell you what West Fargo decided.
New input tonight from a Valley doctor on a treatment for people hospitalized with COVID-19.
Plus, what happened during a high school volleyball match last night that caused players from both sides to stop and pray. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
But I pray for you to do what's right. These are medical devices. I have the right to decide what goes on my daughter.
A packed house tonight at the school board meeting in West Fargo, where once again board members listened to impassioned input from both sides on whether masks should be required on school campuses.
As Valley News Live's Aaron Walling reports, masks will remain optional, but the district did determine at what point they'll implement certain mitigation strategies.
The debates over masking in schools continued in West Fargo as the school board voted to keep masks optional. Some wanting a mask mandate, while others wanting the parents to have the decision.
And if we look around this room, most of us aren't, and that's okay. And those that are, that's okay too. We just want the freedom of choice and realizing if you put a mask mandate, when some of us in this room aren't even doing it, we're putting our kids at a level where they have less choice than we do.
I can say with all insurance that all of us want the kids to be in school. Mask, anti-mask, I think we can all agree that we want our kids in school. But to do that, we need to be proactive with our safety measures instead of reactive.
It wasn't just parents speaking their minds on the matter. Students made their thoughts known as well.
There is a reason why every high school event is chaperoned, because personal responsibility is not something everyone understands yet. I urge you to order a mask mandate for all of West Fargo public schools.
They sometimes give me headaches, and they make me, they upset me, and I feel like school children like me should have a choice.
The school board did vote on thresholds that could result in mandatory masks or distance learning in the future. Those include multiple students testing positive in classrooms that are connected to each other, or a certain percentage of students in a school contracting the virus. The decision to move to distance learning temporarily could be limited to individual classrooms as well. In West Fargo, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
And for more information on those thresholds that the school board voted on, visit valleynewslive.com and click on this story.
A Moorhead family is counting their blessings tonight after coming out uninjured after a driver in an SUV lost control and crashed into the front of their home last night. It happened just before 7 o'clock at 405 Oakway, which is right across the street from Moorhead High School. The parents at the home say their 3 young children were inside the room the SUV crashed into, but say despite some tears, everyone is okay.
A house is temporary. Things like this can get fixed. It's an inconvenience for sure, but to me, the safety of the people around you is by far more important than something like this.
Now, a 41-year-old Moorhead woman was cited for reckless driving on scene and released. The homeowner, Jared Blanchett, who you just heard from, says he doesn't know how long it will take to clean up and repair the damage. A juvenile is in the hospital tonight after being hit by a car while riding a bicycle. That happened just before 5:30 tonight at the intersection of 36th Avenue East and Veterans Boulevard. Police say the juvenile on a motorized bicycle was trying to cross Veterans Boulevard without a protected signal and was hit by a southbound vehicle. The juvenile was treated on scene for a serious injury to the lower body and taken to a hospital. Police tell us the driver was obeying all traffic laws at the time of the incident and did not receive a citation.
Fargo police have arrested a person who they say fired shots early Sunday morning in downtown Fargo for no particular reason. 24-year-old Alexis Areza was arrested for terrorizing and felony reckless endangerment. Police sent out an emergency alert at 2 a.m. Sunday telling residents to avoid the area of 1st Avenue North and Broadway North and to lock their doors and go to an interior room. That shelter in place was lifted after about 2 hours. After reviewing footage and talking to witnesses, detectives now say Areza was not targeting anyone but acting out of reckless disregard.
Many incarcerated individuals, people in prison, struggle to find employment after serving their sentence. Often the go-to fields are construction or welding. The North Dakota State Penitentiary is now trying to give those inmates another career choice by starting a new program designed to train incarcerated individuals in web development. To qualify, inmates must, within a year of their release, have a high school diploma or GED and pass the interview process. The program is made possible through a $250,000 grant by the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Program. That's administered by the Job Service of North Dakota.
I've been able to design a couple of web pages already. I've learned CSS and HTML pretty good, and we're just starting JavaScript now.
Now, the gentleman you just heard from says he's scheduled to be released in a couple of months and says he wants to pursue a degree in computer science. Currently, there are 7 students taking part in the year-long Last Mile program, and the state penitentiary hopes to continue the program for years to come.
North Dakota health officials are now encouraging the use of monoclonal antibodies to treat people who are diagnosed with COVID-19. But some people may still have questions about what exactly the treatment is and how it might be beneficial. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor spoke with an infectious disease expert to learn more.
Currently, there are a couple of monoclonal antibody infusions available for emergency use under the guidance of the Food and Drug Administration. But what are monoclonal antibodies?
The primary purpose of these antibodies is twofold. One is to use them as a treatment. So if you get COVID-19 infection and you are in the high risk category to get into complications of COVID-19 infection, we try to administer these antibodies within the first 10 days of symptom onset.
The antibodies are also used to prevent infection after exposure for high risk populations, like in nursing facilities that have had a COVID-19 virus outbreak. And as a virus surge is redeveloping due to the Delta variant, health experts are encouraging the use of these antibodies to help limit the number of hospitalizations.
Hospitals are running at full capacity, and we are trying our best to blunt the surge or at least prevent as many hospitalizations and deaths as possible. So we are working overtime, and we are infusing about 15 to 20 of these antibodies on a daily basis in hope to keep these patients out of the hospital and prevent any complications.
Sanford's Dr. Avish Nagpul says the COVID vaccine is the most effective way to prevent the virus, as it is something that's immediately available rather than being required to test positive for the virus in order to receive the monoclonal treatment. He also says these antibodies are not 100% effective. In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
A member of Altru's pharmacy team in Grand Forks is crediting monoclonal antibodies for saving his life. We'll bring you his story tomorrow right here on Valley News Live. The Air Force has now set deadlines for when military members need to be vaccinated against COVID-19. The plan calls for active duty personnel to be vaccinated by November 2nd. Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve personnel are ordered to get the shot by December 2nd. Initially, only the Pfizer vaccine is being offered. We're told the service members will have the option to apply for exemptions, including religious accommodations. Sanford is giving $350 million to a clinical initiative that aims to create a virtual care center to treat people in rural and underserved areas. The center will serve people across Sanford Health's network of hospitals, clinics, and long-term care facilities. They say it'll also house innovation, education, and research initiatives to work on digital healthcare solutions for the future.
Minneapolis police will no longer be pulling drivers over for minor offenses such as items dangling from a rearview mirror or not having a working license plate light. The police chief wrote in a memo that the change is an attempt to better utilize time, resources, and operational effectiveness. The chief says the change will help them prioritize what is a serious traffic violation while also building trust in the community. A report from CNN warns of potential violence during an upcoming rally in Washington, D.C. It comes as violent rhetoric surrounding the September 18th event in Washington has increased online. Counter-protests are also being planned for the same day. The latest intelligence report on the Justice for J6 rally notes that online chatter in support of the event began increasing after the officer who fatally shot Ashley Babbitt went public. We're told the memo warns that many may see it as a Justice for Ashley Babbitt rally, saying it's not unreasonable to plan for violent altercations.
8 months after the riots on Capitol Hill, the FBI is releasing new video of who they describe as the January 6th pipe bomb suspect. In the video, you can see the suspect walk to a park bench and sit down with a backpack in hand. That suspect wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and a face mask. This person is accused of planting 2 pipe bombs near the Democratic and Republican Party headquarters between 7:30 and 8:30 the night before the Capitol riot. The bombs were discovered the next day. Around the same time, hundreds of people stormed Capitol Hill. The FBI says the bombs included galvanized pipes, a kitchen timer, and homemade black powder. They were detonated by robots.
Tropical storm Mindy has formed in the Gulf of Mexico, and it made landfall at 8:15 this evening. That's according to the latest advisory by the National Hurricane Center. Mindy's maximum sustained winds at landfall were 45 miles an hour. A tropical storm warning has been issued in parts of Florida. Since Mindy formed so close to land, there wasn't much time for it to strengthen. Mindy is forecast to weaken quickly as it moves through Florida and Georgia. Heavy rain is expected and some flooding will be possible.
Still ahead, we'll show you what caused players from 2 area volleyball teams to join together and pray in the middle of a set.
But first, Hutch is in with a look at your forecast coming up right after the break.